What's going on, everyone? Mike Kadlick, Tayler Kyles here for CLNS Media inside of Gillette Stadium as the Patriots just announced some of their new 2025 free agency class. But before we get to that news, Taylor, the big news of the day, the Patriots releasing captain and veteran center David Andrews. Played 9 seasons with the team, was undrafted in 2015, ended up carving out quite a role for himself, a 2-time Super Bowl champion, part of the Patriots all-decade team, but injures his shoulder last season, ends up on season-ending IR. Said after the year that he did want to try and return, but ultimately doesn't happen, at least in New England. They release him. He is able to, go elsewhere. We'll see if he ends up finding and landing somewhere else. But again, the big news of the day, David Andrews released after 9 seasons with the Patriots. Your instant reaction to the Patriots making a big move, now losing out on another captain with Teacher Wise signing with Washington yesterday.
I think if David Andrews ends up playing somewhere else, especially playing good football somewhere else, then this move looks really bad, right? You release him character-wise. David Andrews is a great fit. He's played in a Josh McDaniels offense. He wanted to come back to play with Drake May.
Right.
But the uncomfortable situation that we didn't really want to discuss, and that's where it feels like this is probably leaning, is, well, what if David Andrews can't really play, right? What if he's not at the same standard? You go into training camp entertaining the idea of David Andrews being your guy, then halfway through, you need to make a dramatic change at center, and you aren't prepared. I think this is just the unfortunate business side of football. Now, again, if David Andrews can still play, it's going to be a head-scratcher, and you're going to look
100%.
back and say, what in the world were they thinking? But you've got plenty of bodies at the position. Right now, starters, I don't know. Cole Strange is unproven. Ben Brown, we've seen what he can do. Ideally isn't a starter. You have Lecitus Smith. Again, a lot of bodies. I'm not saying starters, but I would look at guys like Andre James, who started games for Josh McDaniels with the Raiders. He's on the market. Daniel Brunskill, another veteran. He's mostly been a guard, but he's also played some center. He has some history with Mike Vrabel. So there's options out there on the market, but again, it always stinks when somebody like David Andrews, who has been a longtime captain, who's won championships, and was such a vocal and emotional leader for this team, and I know just as someone who covered him on the beat for a couple of years, the perspective he brought
100%.
in some very tough seasons. It meant a lot to me because honestly, even though, our jobs aren't very hard, but you're here, you feel the vibes. It's tough seeing guys kind of down when you're losing in seasons, and Andrews was always the one when he was in press conferences who was like, hey, we get paid to pay a kid's game. It's really not that bad. We got to keep our head up. So he will be missed, but at the same time, this is a new regime and some unfortunate changes may have to be made.
Yeah, 100%. And it's one of those things where you look at it and it feels like it could be a head scratch because they haven't addressed the position yet in free agency, but it gives them sort of a head start now. Like they didn't, hamstring themselves into trying to bring him along and ended up having to turn to a backup level player. Now they get a head start, can try and find someone to fix the position. So whether that is Cole Strange, whether that is Ben Brown or somebody else who fills the shoes, David Andrews will not be back in a Patriots uniform next season or for the foreseeable future. Now, Mike Reese, who did break the news, mentioned that Julian Edelman, something similar happened with him at the end of his run here. He was released by the team dealing with an injury. People thought maybe he would land elsewhere. He ends up retiring later on and does have, a Patriots retirement ceremony with him, and does come back to the team and kind of celebrate it that way. So we'll keep an eye out there. But for now, David Andrews released by the Patriots after 9 seasons, an 8-time captain in New England. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Prize Picks. If you want to get in on the action with us, head over there. Use code CLNS. You get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
I'm not going to lie. They had us in the first half. After agreeing to terms with the Carolina Panthers, former Eagles defensive tackle Milton Williams decided to pivot to the Patriots after being offered a 4-year deal worth $104 million, making him the 3rd highest paid defensive tackle by average annual value and the highest paid Patriots player by average annual value in team history. Now, there is skepticism over whether Williams can live up to his contract, as he's coming from an Eagles defensive line that was absolutely stacked with talent and was able to rotate players due to their depth. But I'm going to take a look at the stats and the film to prove that Milton Williams can not only be a difference maker as a pass rusher, but also as a run defender and become the key piece to what is going to be a revamped Mike Vrabel defense. Take this 3rd down red zone sack against Falcons right guard Cody Lindstrom. Lindstrom comes out of his stance with both hands out in front, and Milton Williams decides to counter by first swiping to knock the guard off balance, then continuing to swipe away the hands, getting underneath Lindstrom, and taking down Kirk Cousins for a sack. Milton Williams did a full 180 as a pass rusher in 2024. Unfortunately, the same can be said for his run defense, and not in a good way. After ranking top 10 among interior defensive linemen in run stop rate in 2023, Milton Williams graded out as a bottom 10 interior run stopper in 2024.
Make sure to become a Patriots Press Pass member so you'll get full access to this Milton Williams deep dive, as well as all of our other exclusive content.